Why is this not working out for me? I have done all of the things, yet I'm still not a millionaire. Like, what have I been missing? How many of us feel like that all the time? Because I have felt like that. I have felt like that, and so many of my friends, family members, clients feel like that all the time. It's like we're doing all of the things, yet we still feel like we're just not there yet. Like we're missing something, like we are lost, like everyone else is getting it and we're just not getting it. And for some reason, we keep harping on the negative and it's so frustrating. I want to talk all about that in this episode. I actually had a friend that I was talking about this with lately because she was like, I know that you're good at this. You figure out how I can stop harping on the negative and how I can really focus on being more positive. So Sade, help me out, give me some tips. And I thought this would be a really good podcast episode because I think this is something that we all go through. Actually, I know this is something we all go through because our minds are wired for the negative. And I want to talk about why they are, how we can use that to our advantage, and how you can stop beating yourself up if you are struggling or if you're trying to bounce back after a setback. This episode is going to move you forward with confidence and more peace and empowerment to be able to take those steps even when it feels hard, to take the steps even when you are feeling a bit down, and to remind yourself that you are the one. You are the one and you can do any and everything that you desire. So let's get into it. Hi, hello. Welcome back to the Fire Inside podcast. Or if you're new here, hi, hello, what's up? Thank you for being here on the Fire Inside podcast. We know that there's a fire in your heart, there's ambitions in your soul. You know what you want to do and you know you need to make a change to get there. But how can you do it with more ease? Because we're all about easeful living and not hustle. So on this podcast, we tackle all things personal development, time management, and the mindset shifts you need to make to level up so you can live as your highest self. Because why would you live as anything else? You deserve to live as your best self. This is your weekly reminder to stop playing small and start living fully, whether it's in your career, your wellness, your relationships, or your personal goals. I'm going to cover exactly what you need to succeed. If you don't know me, I'm Sade Kelly. I'm a time management coach, a New Yorker who lives in Atlanta, a wife, mom, and CEO of The Fire Inside, where I coach people on how to manage their time, reclaim their time so that they can manage their work, wellness, relationships peacefully. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about how to stop focusing and harping on the negative, right? So we've all been there, like I mentioned earlier, where we have gone through things that just didn't work out, or we've had ups and downs and mistakes, and we feel like we're just in this loop of just things going wrong. But at the end of the day, it's because we focus on the negative. We focus on the negative. Our brains are wired to scan our lives for a problem, and it's a survival mechanism that worked really well for us back in the day when we needed to survive and be aware of all the danger. But in today's world where we don't necessarily have a problem of survival, depending on where you live and your life circumstances, of course, but I'm going to base this off the people who are most likely watching this video can relate to me, where we don't really have life-threatening issues day to day. More so the challenges that we do have, we tend to harp on and we tend to focus on them, and we tend to let them bring us down no matter how many great things are happening. And it's been said that like we could have 20 great things happen, but if one negative thing happens, or we could have 20 great comments, but then one negative comment will be the one we dwell on, because at the end of the day, not only are we wired for negativity, but also all of us want to be liked. All of us want to be respected, and we all want people to see how great we are. It's funny too, because I was actually talking to a friend. We went to lunch the other day, and she was just like, well, what would someone say that's bad about me? Like, why would people talk about me? And I laugh because it's like, sometimes when we hear people talking about other people, we're like, well, they probably do talk about us too. And I told her, I'm like, they absolutely do. Everyone talks about everyone. It doesn't mean that they gossip, but everyone talks about everyone. And there's always something positive to say about people, and there's also always something negative to say about people. And I think that's completely okay. Like, yes, I used to live in a world where I thought, oh, I'm so amazing. Like, why would anyone not like me? But people aren't going to like me because it's people I don't like, right? And I think that's natural. It's okay to not like some people and for people to not like you. It's just a part of life. And the people who are for you are going to be for you, and the things that are supposed to happen in your life are going to happen in your life. And it's simply that. It's not black and white. There's a lot of gray areas. So let's stop harping on the negative. Let's really just learn how to lean into what we're conditioned to do, right? So when we've been conditioned to believe that beating ourselves up is how we stay accountable, or it's how we push ourselves, or it's how we do better next time, then self-punishment almost becomes like a go-to. And I want you to get away from self-punishment. Now, they may have worked for you in the past, like I'm going to work hard so I can get out the hood, or I'm going to work hard so everyone has ever told me that I can't do things, I can prove to them that I can do it. Now that might have worked for you in the past, but it's not necessarily the healthy thing that's going to help you to grow, right? So why I say that is because it keeps replaying what's went wrong, or it keeps replaying the negative things in your life. And it really is just draining your energy, and it's kind of like a disservice to yourself. I'd rather you work out of self-love. A lot of times people want to be disciplined because they're trying to prove something to someone else, but really you need to just show up as a disciplined person because you love yourself and you value yourself that much. Taking that shift from self-punishment to self-love is really big, and I think it's super underrated. And when you can learn how to harness love for yourself, there's really nothing anyone can say or do that's going to attack you. And I truly believe that, because I've learned that no matter what anyone says or does, it has nothing to do with me, because I'm really centered in who I am. And when I don't feel centered in who I am, I do certain practices to get myself back there. So let's get into that. So if you are trying to stop harping on the negative, you want to focus more on the positive, the first thing I want you to do when it comes to shifting your focus is interrupt the thought. Interrupt the thought. When you catch yourself replaying a mistake, saying something that is negative, or complaining, say it out loud, catch the thought. If you're in a social setting and it's kind of awkward to say it out loud, say it in your mind and then rephrase the thought, right? First, I want you to think about the thought you said. So that's going to be you capturing that thought. And then interrupting it is flipping the script, right? So if you say it out loud, it makes it kind of easy to kind of flip the script, because it's like, okay, you're harping on a mistake you just made, but like that already happened. You can't go back in time. What are you going to do to move forward? Or you're complaining, you catch yourself about to complain about something, and then you're like, Sade, like there are bigger problems. Like I talk to myself in third person, but maybe, insert your name, but there are bigger problems in the world. Why are you harping on that? Why can you shift your focus to something else? There's going to be moments in your life that don't work out the way you want them to. And instead of beating yourself up and punishing yourself, learn how to rephrase the thought. So interrupt it. It's like, okay, maybe I met with a client and I thought the conversation was going well, but in the end, they didn't want to move forward. And then instead of just deciding maybe that client isn't for me, maybe there was something I could have did differently, but it's okay. Sometimes we end up in this, did I do something wrong? Was I too salesy? Did I not explain myself the best? Why did she not want to partner with me? Why did she want me to be her coach? Or why didn't I get that job? Or why didn't they pick me? Instead of harping all those things that you cannot control, it's very important that you learn how to interrupt those thoughts. Learn how to reel it back in and catch yourself, whether it is saying out loud or saying it to yourself. Rephrase what you're saying to yourself. There's nothing you can do about what someone else has done, but what can you tell yourself about who you are now? Are you still a confident person? Do you still make sales? Are you still in a great position? Do you still have an amazing family? Are you still a really great person? Do you still have accomplishments that you're so proud of? Do you still have awards hanging up on your wall? Do you still have that degree that you're so proud of yourself for getting? Like, remind yourself of who you are. Keep that brag book or that list of things that you can look back and say, yeah, I've done amazing, great things. I have evidence that what I do works because I've done it before, or I've done similar things before, or I can prove to my mind that I am amazing. And I just need to remind myself of that in the moments by interrupting those negative thoughts that I know are naturally going to come up. The next thing I do is I like to flip the focus, not only from what different thoughts and how I can affirm myself in a different way, but also I like to flip the focus from what mistakes I made to what can I learn from these mistakes, instead of thinking about, well, that was a failure. Actually, it was just a learning lesson. Like, even if it was messy and you were disappointed and it just went really poorly, no matter what the situation was in any part of your life, think about what wisdom came from it. What did you learn from it? Why was that placed into your life? Like, Was there something you were supposed to learn from that? And especially if you keep getting into the same situations again and again. I know I've been in the same situation again and again. Like even just dating prior to obviously being married, like I felt like I was dating like similar guys and I was just like, why is this happening to me? Like what lesson am I supposed to learn? And instead of just going from the same person to the same person, I realized, oh, there is something you're supposed to learn about how you treat yourself and how you view yourself. And once you've learned that, you're going to attract the person that is meant to be with you. And that is exactly what happened to me in my early 20s. It's really wild. And it's why I'm here, I think, part of the reason at least. And this focus really helps you to figure out, okay, what can I learn from this situation? What will I do differently based on what I learned? What worked? Even if it was something super minor, you can always find a silver lining, something that did actually work out for you or something you did learn that helped you, especially when you look back. I always like to think about what is any moment teaching me? What can I do better next time? And that is how I've gotten really good at giving myself grace. Like when things don't go to plan, I always think about, okay, how can I do this better next time? Even for instance, like today, I'm planned to film at a certain time. I thought my son, he's going to nap at a certain time. And what I've learned about babies is they going to do what they want to do. Okay. And while I love that for him, it messes me up sometimes. And what I realized was I need a better contingency plan. Like I need to definitely make sure that my husband is home because I tried to do this while he was at the gym and it did not work out because my son ended up waking up. I had to interrupt my filming. I had to wait for my husband to come back. I had to set him up, make sure he knew what he needed to do with my son. And then I could come and sit down recording a little bit later than I wanted, which is kind of going to shift our day because we have plans later today. But being able to have a contingency plan, learn from it, adapt in real time, give myself grace, laugh about it, and realize, girl, you are a mom. You own your own business. You are the facilitator of your time. You are filming your amazing podcast still. Like, give yourself the grace. You learn something from this moment. Use that to inform your next film date or what you're going to do next or yada, yada, yada. You get the point. Being able to learn and use it is going to help you the most. This can apply to any part of your life, okay? Promise you it's going to work. So the third thing I want you to think about, so far we've talked about interrupting the thought, and then we talked about flipping your focus to what can you learn from whatever just happened. The third way to stop focusing or harping on the negative is to track the good. Now, this is the obvious one that I think everyone knows, but tracking what you're grateful for or the good things that are going on in your life is a game changer because it helps you to focus on the positive things. Now, I started doing this a couple years ago when I really got into journaling and I was going on my self-love, self-improvement journey. I would write down every single day, and I still do this, the things that are going well in my life, the things I love about myself, major wins for the day. And I think writing down the small ones helps me more than writing down the big ones. Like there are big, amazing goals like making 5 years in my business full time or hitting multiple 6-figure months or whatever it is for you. Like there are amazing things that you hit that are big, that are great, but those small day-to-day things like, oh, I worked out 4 times this week. Oh, I lost 10 pounds. I couldn't believe I did that. Or I'm back to my prepartum weight. And I'm only 9 months postpartum. Like those little small things, or like my client just voice note me saying that something I helped her do this week is changed her life, or she's launched her business, or she's gotten better with her wellness or her routines. Like seeing that those amazing things are going on in your life and tracking those day to day and having time to sit down and reflect is amazing. And if you can't do it day to day, at least doing it every single week, like having a ritual where you sit down and you think about all the positive things going on in your life, all the progress that you've made, helps your brain to rewire, right? Because those things are going to help you get a great dopamine kick, and it's going to tell your brain that you like to think about the amazing positive things going on in your life. And there's always something positive, even if everything feels negative. Remember that your feelings are not facts. They are not always true. And if you can get your mind to shift away from the negative and onto the positive more often than not, and you're tracking the good, overall, you're going to live a really great life and you're going to have a much stronger mindset. And I'm not saying this in a way that's like toxic positivity. Don't ever feel the feels. Feel the feels, feel the negative. Know the negative is there, right? Like really listen to the thoughts, say it out loud, write it out. And I promise you, it always helps. Anytime I'm in a dark place or I'm like feeling really down, and I go and journal out the thoughts, I always end with a positive note. I always end on a positive note because so there's something about releasing it that helps so much. So maybe you're not a writer. Like I'm definitely a writer. I've always been a writer. If I can write things out, it just helps me clear my mind. Maybe you need to talk to a therapist, talk to a coach, talk to a friend, talk to a family member, take a voice note, create a video, dance it out. Whatever it is that's your method, make sure you're doing that to kind of release the negativity so that you can get back into that positive place, because you never want to really sit in the negativity because it's never going to help you, like ever. It's just going to lead to a poor mood, right? And if you have trouble getting out of that, obviously you should seek help, or maybe you need to be on a different medication, or maybe you need to switch up your routine or your diet. Like I am not a clinician, so I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of that, but I do want to say that like really tracking the good is definitely something that's going to help. The fourth thing I want you to do to stop focusing on the negative and switch up your mindset to be more positive is stop treating your past self like the villain. Okay, we got to stop being so hard on ourselves. We got to stop that self-punishment. The version of you that made that decision was doing the best they could in that moment. And even if you don't fully believe that, it is true. Most of the time, we're doing the best of what we have. We're doing the best with what energy we had in that moment, the capacity we had in that moment, how we felt, and maybe we're out of ourselves, but we have to let that go. I remember the days like in college where maybe I drank a little too much, and then I would wake up the next day and be like, oh my God, what did I post on my Snap? Which we had Snapchat, like Snap stories back in the day. I feel old saying that, but I remember waking up in moments and being like, oh my God, what did I do? Did I say anything crazy? Like what happened? And I used to beat up past Sade so bad. And it's like, girl, relax. Like it's not that serious. You can delete it. You can apologize. You can move forward. Or even like something more recent for me is probably like the struggles I've had with like trying to lose weight postpartum. It was like, oh my gosh, I had a little too much pizza, or maybe I've been craving ice cream too much and giving into like the chocolate cravings a little too much. And now I'm not making progress and blah, 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 blah. And I used to beat myself up about something so specific like that. And it's like, girl, you're breastfeeding, give yourself grace, you're working out, you're doing the walks. Maybe you can increase your steps a little bit more to offload the diet so much. Maybe you can start looking at the diet like it's cheating, but more of like you're treating yourself, but you can do it more in moderation and eat more fruits and vegetables, prioritize your protein. Like what can you do to stop really treating yourself like you're such a villain in this moment and give yourself more grace? And then you really see that you start to see results when you stop doing this. I promise you, like if you stop punishing yourself and start honoring the person that you could be, it's going to bridge the gap between who you are and who you could be. Having that self-discipline out of self-love is always going to help you. And I know I keep repeating that. It's because it's so important. You are the hero of your life. You're the hero of your story. Do not treat yourself like the villain. You may be the villain in somebody else's story, but that's for a moment. That's for a day. It's not forever. Nothing is forever, right? Everything is impermanent. That's something that I learned actually from my meditations on the Calm app. And it's something that's very revolutionary. Like nothing is permanent. Nothing good is always going to be good and nothing bad is always going to be bad. There's always going to be ups and downs. And that's the part of life that we can embrace. So stop taking it so serious, and chill. And then the last strategy is to ask yourself, what deserves my attention? So another flip on kind of like the other things that I've mentioned in terms of how to stop focusing on the negative is redirecting your energy towards future amazing things. Like redirect your energy towards what you're working towards, or your goals, or your peace, or your plan. One thing I love to do is I love to go into ChatGPT, especially if I'm feeling like, oh, I feel a little lost, I don't know my plan, and knowing darn well that I have it written down. One thing I'll do, even when I do have my goals written down, is I like to go into ChatGPT. I like to paste my goals in there and give them like my 10-year plan or 8-year plan or whatever amount of years, you have your plan for, and ask it like, can you paint the picture of what this looks like vividly, like a storybook? And then I like to read through it. Not just what my day-to-day would look like, but what I envision for like the next couple years. What big milestones will I hit? What will it feel like? How can I reverse engineer it? Like I like to just read through that sometimes. Even though I have a set plan, I like to think very future, very like storybook, story of my life, really get a clear picture where I can visualize it to help me remind myself of like, this is what you're working towards. You're having a down moment, but this is what your life is going to look like. This is what your kids are going to be doing. This is what your husband will be doing. This is what your friends will be doing. This is what your family will be doing. This is where your life will look like. This is where you will live. This is what it'll feel like. Like this is what you'll be accomplishing for clients. This is how amazing you're going to be, on what stages you'll be speaking on. This is the books you'll be writing. Like I love to think about those type of things. Like that's the things that I want to divert my attention to. Yes, I feel the feels, but when I start getting to that place where it's becoming too much, I love to think about what deserves my attention. Where can I shift my energy? How can I bring myself back to what truly means the most to me? My core values, the things I want to accomplish, my peace. That will help you to get out of the negative. I promise you, you can't read something like that and still feel negative, because that tells me then that you have a belief issue, and it's much deeper than you being negative in that moment, but it's more so you have to work up believing in yourself, which tells me you need help with self-love, self-trust, and those are things that I love to help my clients through, because that is a journey all in itself. And when you can really learn to love and trust and believe in yourself, because believing in yourself is so important. If you believe in yourself, you can do any and everything, right? It's so deep. And if you can really start to harness in on that belief and ask yourself, like, why not me? Like, cause why not you? You can do anything that you want. Ooh, that is such a word. Like, you can do everything that you want, because there's no reason it can't be you, especially if you believe it. And if you believe in you, you don't need anyone else's approval after that. You just need yours. So harness in on that and follow these 5 ways to stop focusing on the negative and start focusing more on the positive. So the first one was to interrupt your thoughts. The second one was to flip that focus. Think about, what did you learn? The third tip was to track the good. And then the fourth tip was stop treating yourself like the villain, because you are the hero of your life. And then the last one was to think about what deserves your attention. How can you shift your focus? So your action item for this episode is going to be to take one of these tips and implement them, right? Whether it's writing down your wins every single day or interrupting your thoughts, think about the tip that most resonated with you. That even now, as you think about what you just learned, think about which of the tips is most prominent in your mind, and then go with that one. Implement that one for the next week or 2 weeks, maybe even the next month, to really see that shift. And I promise you, you will start focusing more on the positive, and you will stop harping so much on the negative. Now, there's so many different ways I could have went with this episode. Like I was thinking about talking about like subconscious and like how you could do like EFT tapping and neurolingual programming. But like, I don't want to go into all the ins and outs of that science in one podcast episode. I think there's a lot of resources that you can learn about those topics. But these 5 felt like the most tangible things that I could teach you today, that I quickly implemented, that clients quickly implement, and that I share with friends and family all the time, that I want to share with you, because I feel like we're close, right? Like I feel like you're part of my community, and I want to deeply help you quickly implement something that could help you to stop focusing so much on the negative and focus more on the positive, and learn how to leverage those natural negative tendencies for something that's going to empower you instead and inspire you. So I hope this episode was super helpful for you. Let me know in the comments which tip resonated with you the most and what you're going to implement, so we can all hold you accountable. And as always, if you would love to work together, feel free to head over to my website and book a time audit call, where I will audit your time for you and let you know what's the best way to be more intentional with your time, so you can hit your goal 6 times faster and save 28 or more hours per week. And also, I'm going to leave my 5 biggest time management mistakes that I see women make and what to do instead, because I do talk a lot about mindset in there as well, because that is very tied to how you manage your time. Has to do with your mindset. That's not something that's necessarily always correlated in the world, like in the time management content world and resources. But for me, I've seen it's the biggest thing. Like a lot of your procrastination, discipline, like not planning well, not having a system, comes a lot from mindset. So I talk about that in my free guide. You can find that in the show notes. As always, if this episode encouraged you, please share this with someone else. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel as well as this podcast, depending on where you are listening to it. And thank you so much for tuning in every single week. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.